All right, 97.7 Outlaw Radio FM listeners, you already know what time it is, and right here, right now, we are actually live with Toronto, Ontario, Canada's own. He is currently signed to Real Wolf Records. We got Resin right here, live on the line, man. How are you doing this evening?
I'm pretty good, pretty good. How you doing, bro?
Oh man, doing best I can possibly be, man. Just getting over that influenza they got going on, man. Gotta love flu season.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, it's crazy right now. Everybody's getting sick and shit.
Yeah, man. I gotta say though, I'd rather have the flu than COVID any day, though, man. So I'm just glad it's the flu.
Yeah, fair enough.
But also, man, I know you're a busy guy there, Resin, so I'm going to dive right into this interview, man. But I want to take you back to the beginning of your amazing career this far within the music industry. And I have to ask, man, what originally just inspired you to actually get into the music industry initially, man? Because you're such a phenomenal artist.
Well, I mean, just like I was a young street kid, like coming up, and just everybody was like, freestyling and shit at that point, and then it's just I just thought it was something that I could get into and start doing because I used to come up with like some crazy shit, so just started like freestyling and battling people, and then from there we started like working on like actual like songs and shit, and just kind of went from there.
And also, man, on July 28th of 2019, you were actually featured on Filthy Tarantino's single titled "So What." I was wondering, how did yourself and Tarantino get connected? And of course, what was it like just working alongside him in the studio?
Well, we actually never recorded like in the studio together. Like because he lives in Woodstock, so I mean, me and him just recorded it separately. But the way me and like Tarantino actually linked up is I actually met him at a show. Actually, I forget what show they had. It was like in Guelph or something like that. I ended up like performing at the same show as him, and then me and him just kind of linked up because it's just that we had like similar styles in the sense, or it was just like dark, hardcore raps and shit. So, yeah, I mean, after that, like we kind of like started like chatting back and forth online and shit. And then he hit me up. He's just like, "Yo, I want to like feature you on a record and shit." So I was just like, "Yeah, word up, let's do it." You know what I mean?
I gotta say, man, Tarantino is such a phenomenal artist, man. You guys both had amazing chemistry on this particular song. Was this the only time you guys had the opportunity to work together, or do you guys have plans to do more in the future?
There's actually another joint that we ended up doing too. It was on another one of his other projects. It's called Scumbags. So, yeah, if you haven't heard that joint, you should definitely check it out too.
And also, as the world already knows, man, you're currently signed to Real Wolf Records. I was wondering if you can actually tell our listeners the story behind that deal, and of course, how did that opportunity originally land for you?
Well, I mean, like I've known Tom from the scene for a long time. I mean, Tom's like the director, like the one in charge of Real Wolf and everything. You know what I mean? So I've known him for like the scene from a long time, doing like shows and stuff. So it's just one point we just ended up linking up, and then we ended up, he featured me on a song on the Underworld too, Sinister Tendencies, and I mean, yeah, we just kind of went from there. He's like he's actually like been a big inspiration for me, and like he's like done a lot for me too, and so I owe a lot to Tom because I mean he kind of gave me a chance when like a lot of people were sleeping on me and shit. So it's just much love and respect to Tom for what I mean, giving me the opportunity.
And I gotta say, I also with you, man, just on this label, they have so many amazing Canadian artists actually signed as well, man. Such phenomenal artists on Real Wolf Records.
Yeah, I mean, we got a pretty dope roster. I mean, we got Swan up in there, we got Team B and Mercenary, DJ Chino. I mean, some of the extended fam too, like Jay Reno, Robbie Snatch. You know what I mean? It's got a pretty dope team. You know what I mean?
I gotta say, man, definitely. I'm actually excited to see what you guys actually have next and who's coming next on the roster, man. Because you guys have pretty much every single amazing Canadian hip hop artist within Ontario on that label, man. You guys are growing into, honestly, in my honest opinion, you guys are growing into the Death Row Records of Ontario, man. In my honest opinion.
Oh, sure, word up. Yeah, respect. I appreciate that. I mean, yeah, one thing you can expect from Real Wolf, I mean, you can always expect like another compilation album. I mean, we always got compilation albums in the mix. But I mean, we're also like working on the actual Wolfpack album. So I mean, hopefully next year you guys can keep that. You know what I mean?
And on December 16th of 2019, you guys sorry, you actually released the 14-track album titled Soulless. I was wondering if you can actually tell our listeners a bit more about this phenomenal project, and of course, is it actually still available to be streamed or purchased today?
Yeah, you can stream it on any like major digital platform. Yeah, we worked on that album for a couple of years. I mean, that was actually my first like actual official release. I've released something before that, no release date, but I mean, like it's only like I only ever sold that like hard copies. Like you could only get that if you like got the CD when it dropped. So that's not even available online. But my first actual official release is Soulless. As you said, yeah, December of 2019. I mean, a lot of people love that album. They bang that shit, like, you know what I mean? So it's just, you know, if you haven't heard that shit, I mean, definitely go check it out. I mean, we got a lot of dope features on there. We got Mr. Hyde up on there. We got Recognize Ali, Insane Poetry, Rusty Jukes. I mean, also the Wolfpack. Yeah, I mean, it's a crazy fucking album. I mean, I'm working on another one, too. It's going to be dropping under Real Wolf as well. So, I mean, looking forward for you guys to hear that joint too. So,
and I gotta say, man, the one song that I always love banging off this particular project, man, is actually GTA featuring Scene B.
Yeah. Much love and respect to Scene B. You know, we're both West End cats, like Toronto. You know what I mean? Etobicoke representing. So I mean, that was definitely like one of my like favorite joints on the album too, because it's just, you know, it's a very hardcore, like, you know what I mean, Toronto song. You know what I mean?
And also as well, on October 30th of 2021, yourself and Swan actually teamed up to release the amazing album titled The Dark Ages. I was wondering if you can actually tell us a bit more about this particular album. And of course, what was it like just working alongside Swan in the studio, man? Because you guys did an amazing job on this project.
Yeah, much love. I mean, The Dark Ages, I mean, dropped on Devil's Night of last year, just turned 1 year old. And yeah, if you guys haven't heard that, you can also listen to that on any digital platform. We also got hard copies available as well. But yeah, I've actually known Swan the longest out of anybody in the Wolfpack. Like, me and him have been doing like shows together for a long time. So, yeah, it just made sense that both of our styles and shit, it's just like, we both come with that dark, rugged shit, and it's just, yeah, it's a dark album. I mean, we just came out of like the pandemic and everything, but we made that album like during the pandemic. So I mean, we called it the Dark Ages just because it kind of suited that time frame where it was just like, it kind of felt like the Dark Ages because it was just like, you know, there's this virus out there and all this, and it's just like, you know, we're all on fucking lockdown, quarantine shit, and it's just like, it just felt like, you know, it was just like a very dark time, you know what I mean? So it's just like, we're actually working on part 2 right now. So I mean, that's probably going to end up coming out some point next year as well. So I got a lot of projects on the go. My next solo album, there's a Wolfpack album, and also the Dark Ages too. So, I mean, much love and respect to Swan, because, I mean, you know, I love that album. Like, out of all the albums, that was probably one of the most fun, like, ones that I've made, because it's just, like, just vibing out with Swan was, like, it was fucking dope.
And I gotta say, man, while we're on the topic of dope, man, the one song off the Dark Ages I really enjoyed was actually Beast Mode featuring DJ TMB, man. Man, I gotta say, DJ TMB is a phenomenal individual, man. So just hearing you two actually on one track together is phenomenal.
Yeah, respects. I mean, yeah, we've done a lot of work with DJ TMB. I mean, much love and respect to EQ from Cali. I mean, he produced the beat. But yeah, DJ TMB always comes with those sick cuts, you know what I mean?
And also on July 22nd of 2022, you were featured on Jay Reno's single titled Deadbeat Cypher. I was wondering if you can actually tell our listeners the story just behind this particular cipher, and of course, how many other artists were actually featured on this cipher alongside yourself?
Oh, there's actually quite a few artists on that. I mean, yeah, Swan was also featured on it. I mean, Donnie Menace, Jay Reno's up on there. I mean, I actually hit up Jay Reno for a feature, and I was just like, I want you on my next album. And then, like, he ended up just being like, I also want to get you on something as well. And then he sent me that beat. So we kind of, I dropped something for him, he dropped something for me. But, I mean, I haven't released what he dropped for me yet. So, I mean, that's going to be on my next solo joint. So, I mean, stay tuned to that. But, I mean, yeah, that's a sick joint still. I mean, the Deadbeat Cypher, if you haven't heard that one, go check it out. That's also available on all digital platforms.
And on November 5th of 2022, at the Phoenix in Toronto, Ontario, you actually opened for the legendary Method Man, Redman, and of course, Chris Calico. I was wondering if you can actually tell our listeners a bit more about that eventful night. And of course, did you get the opportunity to meet any three of those legends that night on November 5th?
Oh yeah, man. I mean, that was a dope fucking show. I mean, it was a sold out event. I mean, it was, that show was crazy. Everybody was wilding out on that show. Yeah, we did end up, meeting Chris Calico. I mean, unfortunately, I wasn't able to meet Red and Meth. They were in the building. And I ended up like walking by them, but it's just like, they were kind of busy doing their thing, like with sound check and all that shit. So it's just like we were in the vicinity and stuff. But I mean, but yeah, I mean, that show was fucking absolute madness. I mean, they showed us mad love. I mean, that was fucking crazy show.
I gotta say, man, I saw so many photos and videos of it. I actually had tickets purchased to that show, but I actually had car trouble. So I literally had a big freaking bill I had to pay with my car, so I literally had to give up that show. So when I saw the pictures and videos, I was like, oh man, that sucks. It looks so good.
Yeah, that show was dope, man. I mean, it sucks you missed out on that one. But I mean, yeah, we'll definitely have more shows coming out soon. Like, probably the next year, we'll probably have a lot more going on and shit. I mean, at the end of this year, I'm probably going to focus more on just making music. But I mean, we do got big plans for next year, so you definitely got to come out to one of the next shows for sure.
And also, God, earlier on in the interview, you mentioned about how Real Wolf Records actually has a amazing collaboration album with all the artists that's actually currently in the works. I do know, of course, it's in the works, so you can't touch base on a lot of it. But from what you are allowed to talk about, what can the Real Wolf Record fans that are listening actually expect from this up and coming project?
Well, you know how Real Wolf do. You always come with that dark underground shit. You know what I mean? So it's just like expect more of just like that hardcore hip hop. You know what I mean? I mean, I can't really discuss title yet or anything, but it's just like it's gonna be a fucking crazy album. It's already we got some dope joints already laid out. So.
But I have to ask, man, what is next for yourself, Resin, as a solo artist, man? Is there anything we happen to miss during tonight's broadcast? Anything else you do still want to talk about or promote? Well, we still got you here live on 97.7 Outlaw Radio FM this evening.
Well, one thing I want to mention is just much love and respect to you guys for nominating me for Canadian Artist of the Year. If you haven't already done so, go vote for me. Also, add me up on Instagram at Resin_Real Wolf, but that's real as in like a film reel, REEL. Resin_Real Wolf. But I mean, yeah, more or less, I'm just working on a lot of new music. New solo album, as I said, that's going to be dropping under Real Wolf. The Dark Ages 2 with Swan. So I mean, that's actually the one that I've been working on the most is with Swan on the Dark Ages 2. And also like the Wolfpack album. So it's just like we got a lot of music coming out soon. So it's just, I'm just hungry right now. It's just like taking that big hiatus from not being able to perform for 2 years, like during the pandemic and all that stuff. It's just like I've come back hungry and shit. Like we've done like a lot of shows like recently too. Other than the Red and Method Man show, we just opened up for Swifty McVeigh and Owen Sound. We had Snow Goons in town as well. I mean, and we've got a lot more big plans on like bigger shows and shit next year and shit. It's gonna be dope, you know what I mean?
And also, Resin, this is the time to interview quickly, man, that I give a chance for the individual that does slide into the radio station airwaves, just like a chance to give, like, shout-outs to whomever they want to give shout-outs to, but most of all, man, your social media handles. I do know a few moments ago you just dropped your Instagram, but if you can, man, drop all your social media handles. That way our listeners can follow you not only on Instagram, but also all across the board as well.
Oh, yeah, on Facebook, it's Ryan Rosinski. I mean, on Spotify, iTunes, all that, add Resin to the playlist. Yeah, as I said, Instagram is Resin_Real Wolf. I also want to just give a shout out to Tom, Swan, Mercenary, C&B, DJ Chino, Tyler Reiner, the whole fucking squad, Delaney, Jay Reno, Robbie Snatch. We got a lot of new music coming out, man. I mean, like I'm just excited for this shit to drop because it's just like I have so much. Like it's just like it's almost overwhelming how much music I have. Like it's just ready to drop. You know what I mean?
Hey, I gotta say it. 2023 definitely sounds like the year for Real Wolf Records, man. I'm definitely excited just to hear all these amazing projects when they do drop to the general public, man. I'm definitely excited. I'm definitely excited myself.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, if you didn't know either, like Real Wolf is working on the Cool G Rap documentary. You know what I mean? So it's just like that's in the works. I mean, we're also going to be releasing the short film that Tom directed, Priceless. That's going to be like releasing like online soon. That was like the short film circuit where it's just like it won like a lot of awards in some of these film festivals, you know what I mean? So it's just like we got a lot of big shit in the works, you know what I mean?
But I gotta say, first and foremost, Resin, thank you so much, man, for just giving us a bit of your time here this evening and sliding into the radio station airwaves, man. It was such an honor to be able to speak to a fellow Canadian. Man, I really hope down the line we can make this happen again sometime soon. But for now, definitely have yourself a phenomenal Monday night and a great rest of the week as well.
Yeah, much love and respect for having me on the show. I really appreciate it, you know what I mean? You know, link up and let's talk more and let's build, you know what I mean?
Hey, man, most definitely sounds like a plan. Thank you so much again, Resin, and we definitely shall talk soon.
All right, thank you. Respect, yo.